All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Ryan Berkey. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a project I've been developing over the past 3 years called the Pike Warden project. Now, this project would not have been at all possible without the support of the Yukon Mineral Exploration Program. So a very big thank you to everyone at the Yukon Geological Survey for seeing the potential in this area that I did initially. And obviously, thank you for the continued support. It really, this project and the amount of data on it would be a fraction of what it is today without that program. So again, thank you. Also, thank you to everyone who's helped me develop it. It's just been a fantastic run. The last 3 years have been a lot of fun, and there's lots of more work to do. So I've got a lot of stuff to go through today. Hopefully I'm going to get it all done in 20 minutes. So I'm going to talk really fast. And I hope you're on the edge of your seat and you got a fresh cup of coffee in your hand, because I'm going to try and run through this stuff very quickly. So the title of this talk is New Discoveries and New Potential in the Bennett Lake Caldera Complex, Yukon. And first, I'm going to be talking about the project location, brief history and background, simplified regional geology, the property geology and the showings, and then finish with a working geological model. Try and tie all of what I've been finding together. So the project is located 70 kilometers south of Whitehorse, 30 kilometers west of Carcross, within the traditional territories of the Carcross-Tagish First Nation. And this picture on the right here, you can see the access to the property via the Annie Lake Road takes you to within 15 kilometers of the property boundary. The property itself consists of 185 claims covering 37 square kilometers, and it lies just south of Whitehorse Gold Corp's Skookum Gold Project, which contains the past producing Mount Skookum Mine, as well as the advanced stage projects Goodell Gully and Skookum Creek. Now, zooming in on this area, why did I even start looking in here in the first place? Well, I'm sure all of you know who are listening, Mount Skookum was a producing mine from 1986 to 1988, produced roughly 80,000 ounces of gold over the 3 years that it was producing. And it currently contains a resource of around 27,000 ounces of gold at 9.5 grams per ton. And there's two other significant advanced stage projects within the in and around the Mount Skookum Volcanic Complex. So you've got Goodell, around 200,000 ounces gold equivalent at 7.5 grams. And then Skookum Creek, the largest of the three, 350,000 ounces gold equivalent at around 7 grams per ton. So this is great mineralization, good high-grade gold, silver mineralization, and all focused around the Mount Skookum Volcanic Complex. So these Eocene age volcanic complexes are very important for mineralization within the region. Look to the south, here's the Bennett Lake Volcanic Complex. There it is, it's Eocene aged, it's underexplored. I mean, the Mount Skookum Volcanic Complex is even underexplored. So move further south and it's even less so. And the Warden and Pike stars that you see on the screen here, those were two discoveries that were made in 1988 when Mount Skookum was producing. However, unfortunately, it was the final year of their production. So after that mine closed, these two great discoveries of 1988 received very limited follow-up work. So what were those discoveries? In the cirque of Mount Ward, we've got 3 different vein systems that were identified that returned peak values of almost 20 grams per ton gold and almost 400 grams per ton silver. 6 kilometers to the south, you have the discovery of the ERT zone, which returned phenomenal values of 5.3 grams per ton gold and almost 9,000 grams per ton silver. So unfortunately, never received the follow-up that they deserved. Now, just to highlight how underexplored the Bennett Lake volcanics are compared to the Mount Skookum Volcanic Complex, I drew this line and summed the claimed expenditures in that assessment report's footprints layer, and these are the results. So north of this line, you've got $13 million claimed expenditures around the Mount Skookum Volcanic Complex, and south of this line, you only have $1 million, so exponentially less explored. Similar age volcanic complex, in my opinion, fantastic geological potential, especially given those 2 discoveries in 1988 that received limited to no follow-up work. So does that lack of expenditures mean lack of geological potential? No, this is opportunity. Nobody's found it yet. So we've got to go in here and we've got to take a look and see if there's anything that was missed 30 years ago. I mean, the geology back then was fantastic. The assessment reports are a very high caliber, but still, there's a lot less work that's been done. Uh, so somebody's got to go take a closer look and follow up on that good work of the 1980s. So zooming in, oh, sorry, take a step back here. Why is the Bennett Lake Volcanic Complex important? And why do I think it has potential? Well, I've already alluded to it, but more specifically, there's 10 volcanic centers within the Bennett Lake Volcanic Complex that you can see here. And then there's also this northeast trending hinge zone. Now, that's a very important structural zone. You need to understand the evolution of the Bennett Lake Volcanic Complex, and then it starts to make sense. So this complex, it started to grow and grow and grow, and then it had a collapse. And when it collapsed under its own weight, there was differential subsidence. So there was lots and lots of subsidence along the northern edge, and there was very little along its southern edge. So it needed to kind of flap, like it needed to hinge. So this hinge zone is the area, it's like an inflection point where that subsidence occurred. So it's like a hinge zone. Yeah, it's a flap where this differential displacement is being focused along the hinge zone. And the Bennett Lake Volcanic Complex not only collapsed once, it actually collapsed twice. So after its first collapse, there was the injection of the quartz feldspar porphyry ring dike along its northern edge. And then it grew again, had a resurgent phase of doming, and then it collapsed a second time. And these two volcanic centers were actually inferred to be active during during caldera evolution and also after collapse. So you've got two hydrothermal fluid sources, and you've got this great structural zone here. So this is going to channel hydrothermal fluids along these large scale structures that develop during caldera collapse. And that's why this area is important. So looking at a section of that, you've got this A to A prime pre-collapse diagram of what that would look like. You've got your magma source, brecciation in the overlying granitic rocks in your volcanic complex, which then collapses, differential displacement, and this northern edge has greater displacement than the southern edge, which has little to none. So that is sort of the kind of system that we're in here. So zooming in on the area, property geology, this is what it looked like in 2019, the 3 historical vein showings within the cirque and the ERT zone to the south here that was discovered in 1988. And in the previous 3 years, this is what the project looks like now. So you've got mineralization all channeled along this hinge zone. You've got anomalous soil and till geochemistry, as well as lots of separate showings in and around the property. And so what have we done out here to generate this, this development over the past 3 years? In 2019, there was 2 of us, myself and Charlie Pike, a university colleague, for 9 days, till samples, rock samples, claim staking, geological mapping, which led to 3 people for 10 days, 250 till samples, additional rock samples, additional claim staking, detailed drone surveying in the cirque here, as well as right here, and then ground magnetics as well, which led to 2021 work consisting of a 395 line kilometer airborne survey. There's magnetic, VLFEM, and radiometric data, 299 rock samples, and 4 hand trenches at the historical ERT zone here. So quite a bit has been done in the previous 3 years, and there's lots of new discoveries. So I'm going to go through those with you today. And these are kind of the most important 5. This is the distilled kind of mini version of the highlights of mineralization. So first, the ERT zone, second, the silver train, third, the bonanza zone, 4, lead gold saddle, 5, the upper saddle. These 5 showings have a strike length of 5 kilometers, and I think that they're all related, and I'm going to try and tie those together in the working geological model at the end. So there's a really, having that hinge zone being on the edge of the volcanics, you've got a good geology story here, and I think all these showings are related to the same mineralizing system. Not necessarily the same event, but at least the same system. So looking first at the ERT zone, this is the 2021 prospecting team. You've got Luke Carlos in the back here digging a hand trench, Shane as well, Shane Carlos, and then Charlie Pike, the human helicopter flag. This is one of the best prospecting teams that I've ever had the pleasure to work with. So fantastic, and thank you guys very much for your hard work on the project this year. or the previous year. So what is the ERT zone? It's a tabular, moderately dipping zone of mineralization exposed over 30 meters with anomalous silver arsenic geochemistry extending 250 meters east and west of the main zone. I think it's a drill-ready target with bonanza silver grades. One of the highlights of sampling from this year, a grab sample, quartz sulfide breccia, fine grain, 11,270 grams silver, 1.26 grams gold. So what did we do here? 4 trenches. There's 3 historical ones, east-west trending, and then we put in 4 north-south trending trenches, where we believe to be across the zone rather than along it. But highlight results here. We've got 90 grams silver over 3.6 meters, 160 grams silver over 3 meters, 307 grams silver, 1.46 grams gold over 6.6 meters, as well as 346 grams silver and half a gram gold over 4.7 meters. And then the real highlight here, that trench from the previous slide that you saw the picture of, was mineralized across its entire length, 486 grams silver and 0.3 grams gold over 8 meters, including a higher grade interval of 761 grams silver and 0.4 grams gold over 5 meters, and open to the north here. So phenomenal, great trench result overall. Really consistent mineralization across the zone so far. Highlight grab samples, only 17 samples have been collected outside the zone of trenching. So this really is underexplored and needs more work. 1,300 grams silver, half a gram gold, 0.73% lead, 600 grams silver, 5.5 grams gold, 0.2% lead. Down here, 480 grams silver, half a gram gold. And then a real kicker here, 5,000 grams silver, 2.14 grams gold, 0.18% lead, and 0.5% zinc. And then, like I mentioned in the previous slide, you've got your highlight sample here, 11,270 grams silver. So just phenomenal. Open for more trenching, open for more soil sampling, as well as anomalous geochemistry to the east and the west as well. So very interesting zone here. Moving on to the silver train. This is a very interesting 500 meter square area consisting of quite a bit of very oxidized quartz vein float, typically along these interpreted structures, which are east-west trending as well as northeast trending. Peak values of 7.5% copper, 643 grams silver, 1.6 molybdenum, and 0.7 grams gold. There's quite a bit of propylitic alteration within this area. The granitic rock is this biotite hornblende granodiorite. There's also rare hematitic and potassic alteration mixed in. And this is an example of kind of these oxidized veins that we've been finding. So 493 grams silver, yeah, good result here. And you can see that it's just extremely kind of like a glassy, oxidized hematite, limonite-rich quartz vein. So a plan view map of this zone here shows that of the 141 samples collected in the area, 15% of them are returning values greater than 100 grams silver. And I'm just going to show you some highlight results here. So you've got 470 grams silver, 643 grams silver with 1.4 grams gold, as well as elevated lead, 5.35% copper, 493 grams silver. This is a chip sample from 2021, 32 grams silver, 0.64% copper, and 0.1% moly over 2 meters. The very nice copper number from a vein discovered in 2019, east-west trending and dipping towards the south, 7.5% copper. And then looking now at the molybdenum values, which I find quite interesting, 25% of the samples collected to date are returning greater than 0.1% molybdenum, especially centered over this 500 by 300 meter area. So that is really interesting, these elevated molybdenum values, as well as you got this nice base metal signature with copper and silver as well. Some elevated tungsten values in there as well. So are we close to a buried mineralizing pluton? Could there be porphyry potential beneath this zone? Someone needs to go in and do a little bit more work to figure that question out. Thirdly, the Bonanza zone, 800 meters to the north. This is the zone I'm most excited about personally. First discovered in 2020 with this quartz sulfide vein here that returned 48 grams gold that I found within this talus slope here. And follow-up work in 2021 discovered 4 flow-banded rhyolite dikes. The bottom north-south trending exposed over 300 meters strike. The other 3 unknown strike length, however, they are northeast trending flow banded rhyolite dikes. And additional prospecting in this area returned 3 more high-grade gold samples right from this star here, which is a recessive kind of linear bench, northeast feature, which is obscured by talus. So there's kind of sporadic float in the area, but it's a great trenching target. And I really do think that there could be a mineralized vein adjacent to this flow banded rhyolite dike. Why this is exciting is because this is exactly like the mineralization observed at Skookum Creek, Whitehorse Gold's largest of their 3 deposits they're currently advancing. So at Skookum Creek, you've got veins that are developed along the margins of these northeast trending dikes, particularly the flow banded rhyolite dikes. So the fact that there's 4 flow banded rhyolite dikes here that are very underexplored, and one of them is returning high-grade gold values closely associated to it along a northeast trending structure is very, very encouraging. So I cannot wait to get back here. The 3 samples of this year, 8.6 grams gold, 16.8, and 30.2. So looking at these closer, you've got that 30.2. This granitic rock looks kind of sheared and it has lots of quartz veining through it. So potential for mineralized wall rock here adjacent to the veins. The original sample, 48 grams gold, very sulfide rich, quartz sulfide breccia. And then as well, you've got this 8.6 grammer. That's kind of these 2 tabular oxidized quartz veins with very altered ground diorite or something in between there. And then this 16.8 gram sample, similar to the 48 grammer, this very sulfide rich quartz sulfide breccia. So moving 2 kilometers north to the lead gold saddle, this is a discovery by Luke and Shane Carlos made in 2021, where you've got these beautiful coarse-grained quartz veins with nice euhedral quartz and this very, very, very distinctive semi-massive galena infill. So when I first saw these samples, my jaw dropped and I thought, wow, these are going to be really good lead values and really good silver values. But when the assay sheet comes back, they're enriched in precious metals as well. So really nice surprise there, I'd say. This sample here returned 44.5 grams gold. This sample over here, 60% lead, 490 grams silver, and 4.3 grams gold. And this sample over here, 11.3 grams gold, 31 grams silver, and 7.3% lead. So you've got this base metal rich vein that visually looks like it's going to be only base metals. And then when you get the assay sheet back, it's enriched in gold. So is this a base metal event that's overprinted by a late precious metals event? I don't know. But these 3 samples were taken across 140 meters. And this area has seen just 1 day of prospecting, so it needs follow-up work. We got to find the source of this vein. So again, lead gold saddle looks great. Can't wait for more work on there. Fantastic results, very interesting. And lastly, 5, the upper saddle. This is a 130-meter long, recessively weathered, east-west trending oxidized saddle that contains high-grade gold, silver, quartz limonite veins near the top of it. So it's a great follow-up trenching target. And there's some great numbers here too. You got 1.8 grams gold, 820 grams silver, 0.22% lead, and 0.14% copper, as well as another sample, 2.4 grams gold and 443 grams silver. So, I mean, this is great. You've got 5 fantastic high-grade showings, very geochemistry, very interesting. And how does this all tie together? Well, this is my working geological model. So this is a long section, sort of along the trace of that hinge zone that I mentioned earlier. And then you've got your ERT zone, the silver train, the bonanza showing, as well as this lead gold saddle. So how are these all related? Well, obviously you need a buried magma source. This is the parent magma to the Bennett Lake volcanic complex. And then as that complex is growing and growing and growing, it collapses, which creates these large scale caldera bounding structures, which the majority of those structures are focused along that hinge zone. And then you've got that injection of the quartz feldspar porphyry ring dike along its northern edge, which might cause some mineralization at the ERT zone, as well as silver train. But then you've got this resurgent, you've got continued volcanic activity further to the north along those structures. And then you've got resurgent volcanic activity and magmatic activity, which is that main mineralizing event of all the base metal rich kind of signature that we see across a lot of these showings. So that is maybe when you have your porphyry potential occurring at the silver train, as well as this quartz galena rich mineralization you're seeing at the lead gold saddle, as well as some of these kind of silver rich endowment over at the ERT zone with lead and zinc and copper as well. And as that system wanes and things start to cool down, then you've got your precious metals overprint along those reactivated structures. You've got your formation of the bonanza showing. Could that be an analog to Skookum Creek? The flow-banded rhyolite dikes are there, so that's a really encouraging thing to see. And then also the precious metals overprint you're seeing at that lead gold saddle. So all this stuff is really related to that continued magmatic activity and pre-existing large-scale structures that are all related to that Bandit Lake volcanic complex. So heavily underexplored and very much mineralized, so neglected in comparison to the Mount Skookum volcanic complex. And if you're not excited about that, I hope at the very least you're excited about the showings on the property, because I think they're phenomenal and they all deserve follow-up work, every single one of them. So thanks again for listening. Again, my name's Ryan Berkey. This is the crew in 2020, myself, Charlie Pike, Michael Hunter, and Mike Berkey. Now it's the 3 human helicopter flags. All I've got is this little piece of pink flagging, so I don't think that's going to cut it for me, but we've never had any safety incidents out there. It's been a good program every single year. So thanks again for all the support, and my contact information is listed below. Sorry I couldn't be here live. I'm traveling out of the field today. So yeah, I'm still working in the dead of winter running a drilling program. So it's lots of fun, but I definitely like hiking in the mountains in the summertime as well. So thanks again. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So